Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. I don't know why that's not showing up there. Should be working. Yeah, we've got some updates here. The interview that keeps giving, Trump did an interview with Laura Ingraham. It did not go well. Haven't been on one of these streams. RB. RB, it's crazy. You used to be a regular viewer, didn't you? I feel like I remember you, man. I really do. I watched a car accident right in front of me at an intersection today. It wasn't head-on collision, but this car got fucked. I was at a stoplight, like probably the second busiest intersection in our city, and I was like the front car at the stoplight. It's a four-way intersection, and so I'm at a red light, and I was looking directly forward, so I saw it happen, but I was kind of like zoned out. But somebody just completely ran a light, and there was a pretty big collision. And then all these like, I guess one of the cars had like bookcases or something. They all went flying, and we just didn't know what to do. Nobody knew what to do.
At Average Jobby tipped $10 through Super Chat. TN Representative Tim Burchett tried to release the Epstein files immediately and the Democrats blocked it.
Yeah, I don't know. The Democrats are coming out saying they have information now. It's such a charade, the entire thing. I mean, it's like, really? Trump is guilty of this, yet he was able to run for president after being vetted three different times. This is a joke. Are we really going to sit here and do this again? So I don't know. They're going to keep doing the whole thing with the Epstein stuff. I'm really just like punch drunk over the Epstein stuff. Like, I'm just tired of hearing about it, honestly. You know what? I was able to get around because when these crashes happen, there's debris. There was a lot of debris everywhere. And like some cars were traversing around the debris, and I was able to get around it before the police even showed up. They probably had a bad time. That's a major intersection. There was probably a huge backup, but like there were a few of us that were able to get around the crash scene before the police got there, and one of the cars just drove to like the side, but both the cars were just fucked. Like they had some serious damage. It was like the back and then the side of the other, but I don't think either driver was injured. The Epstein stuff the Dems released showed that Trump was a CIA spy. Well, wouldn't that be good news then? That means Trump is working against Epstein if that's true, I feel like. I don't know, man. I can't really understand three vetting processes of Trump running for president and them not bringing that out even if they think Trump is this horrible person. I truly can't understand that. It makes no sense to me. And then they say, "Well, it's cuz the Democrats are involved too." Yes, but what does it really matter to them if they hate Trump enough? If they hate Trump and they think he's like the Antichrist, and you have this golden goose of him being involved with Epstein, wouldn't you use it at least? Especially because it seemed like Trump was going to win last year. Use it as a Hail Mary or something and you get him out. So I really don't know. I mean, but that's just. I don't want to comment too much on it because maybe there'll be more information that comes out. What's your take on Megyn Kelly and a clip about Kirk with Tucker? I haven't seen that clip with Megyn Kelly with Charlie Kirk. I haven't. Well, maybe I have, or but probably not if it just came out. There's clips of Vance today. Yeah, I saw Vance talking about Appalachia. You think it's an all lie entirely from both sides? I don't know, man. That doesn't seem like they're all covering for each other. I don't know. That seems like a pretty deep, unlikely scenario. But I guess it's possible. Kirk Herbstreit just came out against Mamdani. Bullshit. He used to just randomly say shit like that all the time. I remember that. Bro, what the fuck? Dude, what the hell? There was never a video like that. I don't know, maybe you saw a video. This- Where are you moving to? I don't know, man. Did you see Alex Jones call out Piers Morgan? No, I didn't. Come to Cincinnati, you can live in my basement. Dude, Cincinnati is, I hear it's crime ridden. I hear it's getting worse than Cincy. Thoughts on Trump's defense of H1B? Vivek for sure. Yeah, I thought that was a tough look, obviously, for Trump. You know, he's a boomer capitalist. That's really all I can say about that. He's a boomer capitalist. So, in terms of like an American billionaire or millionaire's bottom line, H1B is very important. Immigration is very important. It's like a globalist recruitment center, the United States immigration system, the H1B visa system. It's a globalist recruitment center. So obviously, if you want to have perfect profits and an increased GDP, it makes sense. Obviously, there's a difference now where a lot of the Republicans, or I don't know if it's a lot, but some of the Republicans are veering off of that and trying to preserve the country as a whole in terms of like the demographics and populace versus trying to counter China as like the number one overall most powerful entity in the world. And so there's Trump is obviously it's like a boomer thought process. Well, we need everyone really smart so we can be number one. And it's a little bit more nuanced with people than that. Do you have any idea why dating has gone so shit for Gen Z? It's just not, there's not a social interaction. There's not social interaction. Women control the dating market on online, and there's not enough in real life meeting. Americans have talent. Trump, no, you don't. Yeah, he is pretty blunt with that, but he wasn't even talking about an H1B program in that situation, believe it or not. He was talking about like the fact that if you're going to onboard a bunch of like semiconductor chips or whatever to the United States, obviously Americans aren't going to have that skill set, so people have to come in and, I mean, ideally teach them, but he was saying people have to come in and do the jobs because Americans don't know how to do them. I mean, I think obviously it's complete. He is a billionaire, so they have a bottom line. That's what it is. He's thinking about bottom line numbers, and a lot of conservatives don't think about that. And you really shouldn't think about that in terms of like the preservation of a country. But obviously, that's what he's thinking about. Trump signing the bill tonight at 9:45 to end the shutdown. Yeah, that's nice. Epstein emails released today go completely against the Dem argument that they were best buddies. Well, then why did they really? I saw some of the stuff on them releasing them, and they're like, well, they redacted a bunch of stuff, so you really can't tell. But there's a victim that has come out, and we're unsure it might be related to Trump, and it's Virginia Giuffre, who explicitly said in a book, I believe a book that she wrote, that Trump was not involved at all with Epstein. So if it's her, if she's the victim, and all this stuff is redacted, and we can barely see any of it in these emails, she has already said that Trump was not involved in it. So I really don't understand what their argument is with it. But it's like at this point, I mean, we're gonna keep saying the same thing over and over again with the Epstein stuff. I just can't see for the life of me Trump surviving 3 vetting processes and bringing up Epstein a number of times and honestly making liberals look bad and look like they were the ones concealing the evidence and hiding it. And now suddenly, well, no, Trump was actually the one all along. But when we had power, we didn't expose him. Okay, that just doesn't make any sense. Trump's messaging needs to get better. DG, your opinion? Yeah, I mean, I think we're all online, and so we see a lot of the right wing people get really angry at this stuff and what Trump says. But dude, you got to understand. I'm not trying to excuse it, but Trump's 80 years old, so he really is not cognizant of like the younger crowd, and it's just he's a billionaire capitalist boomer. I mean, it is what it is. So he's going to say stuff that's like, well, I mean, we want the H-1Bs, we want these people because it's a bottom line business. And yes, in terms of the bottom line, it helps. The interesting thing is, at what point does, the immigration hurt more than it helped in terms of the people that we're bringing into the country? But, yeah, I mean, obviously it's not good for a lot of these people. They're very angry with Trump, and the H-1B stuff it's not really, you can't really defend it. But honestly, I don't even think he was talking about H-1B. He was talking about something else. Nick Fuentes saying he will have a candidate for 2028. Probably MTG. Probably Thomas Massie. MAGA coping and seething. I mean, dude, I don't. It's just like whether Trump says something I like or I dislike. I mean, it's like it doesn't really affect me personally, honestly. It's all like micro politics. Like, do you think Vance needs to speak more? Yeah, but I don't know the dynamic between Trump and Vance. When you meet someone like Trump, I mean, a relationship dynamic is always going to be for Vance. You're the understudy. So it's probably hard for him to really, and I don't really know how receptive Trump is to criticism at this point in his, after winning twice, and he's got an ego to him. There's no question about that. So I mean, you would think there would have to be somebody, I don't know, people are saying Stephen Miller. There'd have to be an advisor that would tell Trump this needs to be handled differently. People don't like this. But even something like this, you wonder if it really even matters. If we're a year away from any meaningful election, I don't really think it matters all that much. I mean, the policy matters if he does, want to import all these H-1Bs. I saw Kristi Noem come out and say they're having this record immigration, but then they said they're going to have a net negative migration. So I don't know. I think we're going to have to see the numbers. They have net negative migration. That's a pretty good selling point. I would like to see the numbers, though. Are the 2K checks for real? Right. So I forgot to do a video on that, but yeah, that came out today. That was Scott Bessent, and so it's under 100K. Now they said families under 100K. They're gonna have to really specify it because originally I had heard it was everyone that makes under 100K, but now they're saying it's families. So are people lumped together or what's going on with that? I'm not sure, but and they have the money for it hypothetically because it looks like it's going to cost $250 billion. They're probably going to make 350 in tariff revenue this year. So they'd have an extra, in essence, they'd have an extra 100 billion, and that would go to paying off the debt. Ideally, all of it goes to paying off the debt, but they want to massage it and help, like they want votes for the midterms. So they're thinking of doing this $2,000, and I think they want the check. Because if you give people a tax refund, they're really not going to notice it. It's not like adding money to their bank account. It's just less taxes they have to pay. So that's probably what's going to be happening. They will be giving out a check, I think, if they wanted to optimize to getting credit for it, basically. You're in college and unemployed. Well, it's your annual income, I think. But I think you probably qualify. I don't know. The COVID stuff, I didn't even qualify for the COVID checks, and that was not due to my income. That was because I was like a dependent or something. But, and I'm not going to qualify for this either because of income. But it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, whoever gets it. I thought it might be under 400K, but it's going to be tough to make it under 400K because I don't think they have the money for that. And it's like, well, we'll have to see. Oh, the loading. Remember that? The loading, man. I remember you like the sports. You did like the sports. You like when I would watch the games. Why do we have to start a civil war on the right every time we have a misunderstanding? Trump's kind of right. We can't make those chips. Doing this kills momentum every time. Same thing with Epstein. But like what momentum? Like internet momentum? I don't even think like what does it even matter? Like momentum. There's not even an election until for another year. I mean, like, but the thing is, there's a lot of people on the right that already don't like Trump, and so when he says stuff like this, it's just going to they're just going to use it against him. I mean, saying that we'll see what the policy is. I mean, if they import a record number of the thing is they have a policy against H1Bs now. You know, they put a policy where they made it very hard for companies to find value in hiring H1B workers because they have to pay 100K extra per H1B visa they give out. So that's the sad thing with Trump. It's like they've made a policy that makes it harder for H1Bs to even exist, and people still on the right, the further right, are saying, well, he's obsessed with immigrants, and because he has issues sometimes during these interviews because he tends to be a bit bullheaded. So he just shoots himself in the foot sometimes, I think, is what happens, because it's unfortunate. If these people actually knew the policy, I think they're rolling back the H-1Bs, at least if it is true, to where the employers are going to have to pay 100K per H-1B visa. Now, they're still going to pay for some of them, but it makes it less attractive. Are you going to move to Ann Arbor, Michigan? No. Michigan's biggest fan. It was a fantastic interview for him. You don't have to agree with him on every single issue. That's fine. I think that's a bit. That's a bit. I would not say it's a fantastic interview for him. Thing is, just we don't have to. You criticize him when he has a bad interview. It's not a big deal. Were you able to see the Northern Lights in Ohio? I wasn't looking for them. I didn't hear about it on the news or anything. There needs to be a 100K fee for every foreign visa application and renewal, no exceptions. Yeah, that would really kill it. Too much cloud coverage in Ohio to see it. I think we might have had like maybe one sunny day the past month. That's the thing. In Ohio, like in early October, it was sunny, 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 sunny. It's great October, but then like once it hits like October 25th, it's just total cloud until like March. Like it's just completely cloudy until March. I mean, we've had like 7 straight days of clouds. Thoughts about Trump's comments on H-1B visas? You can scroll back a little bit, or you can rewind a little bit. I just talked about it for several minutes. The administration has done they've tried to they've put policy in place they want to pass to make it harder for H-1B to make it harder to distribute H-1B visas. So him saying that, I don't even think it was about H-1Bs. It was about specifically properly training people, or the fact that if we're going to be making these, I guess, semiconductor chips, we need people to make them. We don't have them right now. I mean, the Americans should be trained. Like, I don't like any of this, but like, this is where the country is at this point. I mean, it's like, I don't like any of it. I think it should all be Americans, of course, but obviously it's very capitalist. They have a bottom line. They want to make a certain amount in terms of output. People know how to do it. They're not American. Will you be moving to NYC? Free buses but high taxes. Yeah, that's the free buses is tempting. I gotta say, no, it's the fucking the never. I'll never move to NYC or any big major city. The cost of living is way too high for me to enjoy something like that. I mean, I can understand big cities going there for a weekend or something. That's there is there's a funness in that, but no, the cost of living is just insane. It's not worth it. It's a money drain for young people. Unless you have a job there, you have to work there. You can't believe Americans to be trained and then also be the party of not wanting to send kids to college. Well, I'm not even sure that that training would require college degrees. That seems more like blue collar training if it's manufacturing. But I don't know. It's they need to come up with a better system in terms of college, anyways. Koreans were training them, and Americans got screwed out of jobs. We've been outsourcing high tech and now need foreign workers here to train Americans. Not complicated. I guess the question is how many, foreign workers are needed. What do you think about the education system? It's popular to say college is a scam, but what else should people do? Well, I think it depends on the individual entirely. It also depends on how valuable the degree is. If you're going for a valuable degree, then you got to get a degree. There's just degrees are necessary in important fields. They are. I think it depends entirely on the degree. But in most cases, even in just a normie degree, you'll get your foot in the. Although honestly, I don't have experience with it, so I don't know. I do know a lot of college kids. They bitch about the fact that they have degrees and it doesn't really matter. It doesn't help them at all, and then they're $50,000 in debt. I mean, they obviously need to make a better system than that. It's funny how Dems are so mad at Trump for the shutdown affecting food stamps, but when we vote for the government to reopen, they want it to stay shut. Yeah, well, they just bitched because they gave in and they didn't want. They spilled blood in the water with Trump's approval rating in the off-year elections. They said no, but then obviously they got a few of the moderate Dems, I think, to cave or whatever, and so all of the base, the extreme base, was so angry at that because they wanted Trump to give in and it would be a victory for them. They didn't get that. The government is open now for 2 months. Yeah, for however long the continuing resolution, because I think hopefully they're not going to deal with another shutdown. But you saw Megyn Kelly saying Kirk is anti-Israel. Charlie Kirk. Megyn Kelly is taking Tucker's side over Ben Shapiro. Well, I think she sees the shift on the internet and she wants to be on the right side of the mob, if I had to guess. But I mean, also that's nobody's going to be taking Ben Shapiro's side right now.
This upcoming bill to release that Steam files?
Yeah, that's why I just put a bill up. I just tried to move it ahead because what you're seeing right now is what exactly is going to happen, going to continue happening. Everybody's going to pull little piecemeal portions. Sorry about that. I got to animate. I'm Southern Baptist. They're going to pull portions of it out, and they're going to try to fit their own little narrative. Both sides are going to do it. You all know it. You're all going to feed upon it. Let's just get the dadgum bill out. Let's vote it out, and the Democrats oppose me on it. It's stupid. It's all about politics. It's not about taking care of young ladies who got abused, and we should take care of them. But there's a process in place. The Democrats have had it for 4 years and didn't do a dadgum thing. And you know if Trump was in that thing, Biden, the rest, and Kamala Harris, I mean, he's the Antichrist to them. They would have already had it out. What you got?
I was gonna.
No, it's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. And on top of that, I think what he's insinuating is they're purposefully keeping things redacted to try and make it seem like Trump is implicated. And so they'll release like little dribbles of information and say, well, maybe he's involved. But why don't they just release? But it's also Republicans as well that are seemingly against the release of it. So Trump is signing at 9:45. Yeah, so it'll be open. Yeah, it is. It is really an Indian program.
$700,000 H-1B visa holders in America. Now, who is coming to this country to take these high-skilled jobs? As I mentioned, STEM fields dominate the occupations, and most of the workers come from India. In fact, 70% of H-1B visa holders come from India. Another 10 to 15% come from China. 80% of H-1B visa approvals are for entry-level or junior-level jobs. That's a little hard to stomach when we hear that we're not talented enough or that we're not skilled enough for these jobs, when you consider that most of these jobs are actually at entry or junior-level jobs. And it's
and that's the manipulation of the program. That, you know, that's not the way the program was supposed to be used, but it's being manipulated by employers and just the entire system. It's lower level jobs is what they're bringing a lot of these workers in for.
Definitely to the benefit of corporations, tech companies that can hire foreign workers, trust me on this, cheaper than American workers. This is laid out, by the way, by billionaire tech entrepreneur Palmer Luckey.
There's so much H-1B abuse. You would not believe what I saw when I was in Silicon Valley. It is insane. It's obviously a program to try and replace U.S. workers with basically slave labor that can't ever escape. The H-1B abuse is crazy.
That's what immigration honestly is, outside of outside of the visa situation. Because when he says it's slave labor, they can't escape because they have a visa, and so they want to keep the visa. They want it extended. They have to do right by the employer. Bill just passed. At what point are we allowed to think someone is trying to brown out the West? Well, I think there's a it's like a convoluted. This goes back to like the civil rights movement in the 60s. A lot of this immigration. Sean Ryan podcast. I never watched the Sean Ryan podcast. I heard it was boring. Did you see Pat McAfee had Trump on his show yesterday for Veterans Day? Part of his chat, the libs were losing it. Yeah, I did see that, which, it's kind of strange to have Trump on. I mean, obviously, you got to take the opportunity if you're Pat McAfee to do it. So, do you think non-essential federal employees should receive payback? Well, I think it's dependent. I think they do get payback. That's the only reason they were showing up for work in the first place, is they get paid back, basically. Sean Ryan podcasts have to be broken down like episodes for sure. Good for long drives if you have a desk job. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the podcasts are really, they require a time investment. Our NFL went absolutely ballistic when he showed up at the Commanders game and called a few plays. Yeah, I know. Dude, Amon-Ra St. Brown apologized. That's so weak. Why would you apologize, man? He's like, I'm sorry to the people that were offended by it. I'm sorry. And then he said, but if any president was there, I would do a dance for them. So, ad revenue higher for college football or political videos? College football. Yeah, those are two definitely different fields. And so you're right to ask. That's a good question. It is college football for sure, because I think it's based on the content not being as the content is easier to digest for people, so that's why probably. I don't know. No, no, I'm not at a new place right now. Trump urges Israel's president to pardon Benjamin Netanyahu. Lol. Dude, he said that when they were talking about going through the peace deal. He said it when Netanyahu was in the room at like a parliament or whatever. You should sim the playoffs in a college football for a college football. But yeah, but dude, the sim and that college football 26 is broken. Maybe they fixed it, but it's like broken. No, I wouldn't move to the south. I don't really like the weather down there. What's up with all the emails? It's the same thing over and over again, man. I noticed today when you liked my college football video, it briefly turned the thumbs up into a football. Yeah, it does do that for certain things. You'll see. You know what also does that is X when you like something, depending on what day it is. Like the like button will turn into something different. What's your thoughts on Trump Epstein? Well, it's the same thoughts. I don't really see. Listen, if there's proof of it, I don't see any proof of there being any real involvement with Trump and Epstein. You know, they had 3 different administrations to they had 3 different vetting processes where Trump was a candidate to expose it. They had the executive branch in 24 to expose it. Nothing comes out. I don't really see it. Trump is the one to bring it up. Why would he bring it up if he's guilty? It doesn't make sense. Trump brought it up in 2016. So, but it's the same thing over and over again. We have to sit there. It's like deja vu. You prefer cold weather over warm weather? I like all 4 seasons. Yeah, probably cold weather, but all 4 seasons are nice. I mean, it is nice. Warm weather can be fun during certain periods, but I gotta have good air conditioning, I guess. That's it. And also, it's nice. The sun is definitely nice. It's an underrated aspect. There's no doubt. It really improves mood when it's sunny out, I feel like. Has a fan approached you in public? No, no fan has approached me. But I mean, it's not like I can travel a lot of places, honestly. Maybe if I traveled places, someone would. I think it'd be awkward if it happened, but what do you think of liberal? Did you see the liberals attacking influencer Joey Swoll? Yeah, you want to know why? Because a lot of his fan base was liberal. That's the problem. See, that's the issue. When you do videos like he was doing, where he was just calling out people and whatever, you could bring in people from the left and from the right. But when you do something semi-political and you take a stance one side or the other side's going to be so angry. So unlike something like me, where I can say all this stuff and people on the right see it and they take it in and they like it, when you've got someone like that, where you've got like half your audience is liberal, half of it's conservative, and you say something that's like maybe even semi on one side, the other side's just going to go batshit crazy. So when you have these audiences, like you've got some of your fans are liberals, some of them are conservative, but you never talk about politics, and then you talk about politics, or you do something that is political or politically driven. You know, that's a good example of someone who's not political, and then politics come into it, and so half of the fans are bitching and crying about something that they did. So you'll get that with people that aren't political when they talk about politics or when they say something. Because he apologized. The woke mob came after him, like the literal woke mob came after him. I'm not even kidding you. A few months ago, and he had to apologize, and he said, "I'm never apologizing again," because it's ridiculous. They try and still do the cancel culture and stuff like that. If you came to Portland, Antifa would recognize you immediately. I don't think so. I mean, if I was mainstream, they'd probably recognize me, or if I was like a fucking adjutant, if I went to protest, they'd probably recognize me. What's your overall take of Tucker? I like Tucker. I don't really have anything against Tucker. I mean, I think the thing is I think Tucker still likes Trump, so it's kind of a weird spot for him to be in. But I thought the interview with Fuentes, you could certainly make an argument he was pretty lenient with him, especially after Fuentes did all that stuff where he called out his father and stuff. I mean, I guess all that stuff was true, but did you see Jerry Jones? Yeah, I saw Jerry Jones's daughter, dude. That was hilarious. What is she talking, dude? She literally said, "Yeah, we're trying to globalize the NFL." Okay, what does that say? The league is American. There's not even a team in Canada, and she says we're a global league. Okay, yeah, guys, like the stream, like the stream. Even some Fox News hosts disagree with the H-1B and the 600K student visa thing when Fox News basically calls you a boomer. That's a new low. Well, yeah, I mean, and she was giving him questions that were, it was definitely, and she was combating him and Laura Ingraham. I mean, it was not a very comfortable interview for Trump there during moments of that. So, not a global league. You can say that for, well, the point is that they're having all these games in these different countries because it's an opportunity for them. It's a business opportunity. So of course they're gonna pick like a global person that's really not a person that Americans know too well, like Bad Bunny, because they want to appeal to other countries, not the United States. Wow, Saturn. Thank you for that dog there. Should the NFL expand into Montreal? Well, I think the NFL could be successful basically anywhere they wanted in terms of expansion. But Montreal, I don't know. It'd be cool to get a cold weather city with an open air stadium, I'd say that. Bad Bunny is American, yeah, and he's known by like 1% of America and known by like 99% of third world countries. It's really irrelevant. What's up, man? Today sucked. Yeah, I witnessed a car accident today, which was unique for me, but everyone was all right. It was just like somebody ran a red light. If Bad Bunny is American, then why doesn't he have English songs? Because America is the globalist cesspool of the world. And you can speak, our national language is like 500 different languages. That's the great thing with America. Our language is a melting pot. The language itself is a melting pot. So, no, that's actually American. Speaking Spanish is American. It's a sarcasm. Do Somalians bring down the obesity index in European countries, meaning they're no better than America? No, 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 no. No, they are genuinely, the white people there are genuinely in better shape, if that's your question. I believe they are. And especially in the Scandinavian countries, the white people are in better shape. I don't think there's enough of them there. There's not enough of them there. It's Muslim immigration to those European countries they're dealing with. Did you see the new Steam console? It's going to compete with PS5 or Xbox. I highly doubt that. There's a new console that's trying to compete with. It normally never goes well when they say that's going to happen. It might. Steam released the Steam Deck in 2022. It's been pretty successful. Dude, that's not even close to a console. What are you even competing with that? I wonder what it looks like. Is Jerry Jones' daughter right wing? I highly doubt it.
Presidents from Ohio. How many can you name?
Oh,
This is unfair because
that is a totally unfair question. I regret coming to this event based on that question. Okay.
none of them, well, with one exception, none of
Okay, so obviously U.S. Grant.
Yeah.
I have a particular affinity for him. Both of us have beards. Rutherford B. Hayes.
good.
Was Cleveland, Ohio, or is he somebody else?
I don't think Cleveland was.
Okay, the problem is a lot of the Ohio ones are frankly the range of presidents where nobody can name them.
Yeah, they
Right?
all are.
So it's
Except for
like
Grant.
most people can like go up to Jackson and then they know there's sort of Lincoln and Grant and then there's like, you know, a black hole of presidents. Those are the Ohio presidents. Please don't judge my home state because it was just it was a different time in the country. So the answer is apparently 2.
Did you read Chernoff's biography of Grant?
I did. Incredible. One of my best friends actually gave it to me 4 or 5 years ago. Incredible book.
It is.
And he was an incredible guy.
Makes you fall in love with Grant.
Absolutely. And people, you know, he was attacked.
Thoughts on LSU attempting to claw back Kelly's money by trying to say he's fired with cause? It's a mess. Didn't they say he cheated on his wife or something? I don't know the full story, but they're trying to say he violated a morality clause from what I was reading. Yeah, they're trying to get back money from the buyout. I mean, these coaching contracts are they're just so much money guaranteed to these coaches, and they have to do it because they have to lock the coaches down for a long period of time. And then it goes south so fast, so they have to pay this buyout, but now they don't want to pay the buyout. Is Ohio education really that bad? Now, I mean, Ohio education's like, you know, it's just normal like any other state. You think JD represents Ohio well? Yeah, I mean, I think he's a well-spoken dude. Mr. Solo Dolo, what's up? Thoughts on Bill Belichick right now? He's got to be a one and done. He can't be coaching at North Carolina anymore. It's a bad fit. We need a billionaire to save Oregon State football. Wait, where's Oregon State going? Aren't they going to like the fucking Mountain West next year? Are they officially going to the Mountain West? Yeah, they're in it. Like, think about how sad that is. The fact that they're in this Pac-2 conference. I mean, this is as bottom of the barrel as it can get for like a former Power 5 team to be in this like fake conference where don't they play like 2 games against Washington State a year? Talk about the moving situation. Well, there's really not an update on the moving situation. You know, it takes time to actually do it, but I did clean up a bunch of stuff today, even more so. Did you see something about Republicans releasing a 20K pages of files recently today? Well, I heard a Republican was trying to release some of the entire like documents of Epstein, and apparently the Democrats blocked him or something. I think the government is opening at 9:45 or something, they said. Will you bring the globe? Yeah, I'll bring the globe and the Twin Towers. The Mountain West is going to the PAC. It'll be the PAC West Conference. Yeah, but that doesn't even make sense. They're not. It's not really. It's the Mountain West, bro. You can't take two teams and put them with all the Pac-12 teams and say no. It's the PAC. No, it's the Mountain West. They're adding two teams. They can kind of dress it up and say, well, no, the Mountain West is joining. But if you have like 10 teams and then two teams get added, the 10 usurp the two, and so I just call it the Mountain West still. And those teams, they fit better in the fucking group of five anyways, let's be honest. Washington State actually had some decent years with Gardner Minshew. Or Oregon State was not too bad like 3 years ago, but they're normally pretty bad. Are the stocks still on the stream at this? No. I gotta take them off. I take them off. Will you be able to open your iMac? Just open it with a toilet plunger. That's what people on Reddit said. I think I'm going to take it to Best Buy is what I'm going to do. The problem is, dude, this is the issue. You know, it wasn't working. Well, no. The screen was turning on and everything, and that was fine. The thing does not, it will not load. So I can actually log in with my password, but I can't get to the point on the settings, or I couldn't get to the point on the settings where I could reset it. And I'm not even sure it could perform a reset because it's so slow. Like it would fail during the reset. So basically, it was like non-committal, but I hit it with a fucking hammer, and it didn't even dent the thing, except it fucked the screen. So I pressed the power button, and you can hear it. So you hear it turn on, but the screen doesn't turn on. Like I don't see any visual. And so it still works, but it needs to be disposed of. So the thing is maybe I take it to Best Buy and they recycle it. And then I have 2 or 3 other iPhones. The SIM cards are out, obviously. But those are going to have to be... I mean, I could just destroy those or just take them to Best Buy or something. I don't know. Throw it away. It's really not a good idea to throw that away. They say you should take it to Apple or something, especially if it's a desktop computer. That's a large item. I mean, maybe if it was a laptop. Maybe take it to an Apple repair store. Yeah, but the Apple store is like 40 minutes from my house. We do not have an Apple store. That's one thing in our city we don't have, and we don't even have one close. They're adding Gonzaga, San Diego State, and Boise State, Utah State, Texas State. Bro, they're adding Texas State. You're saying they're adding Texas State for football? Utah State? I mean, those are not good teams. Those are just that's just group of 5 slop. You need new Panera content? I haven't been to Panera in forever. Now, there's actually a lot of decent-sized cities that don't have an Apple store. Apple stores are like, they're actually pretty rare when you, or maybe we just, because we have a lot of stores in our city, but the Apple store, we don't have one of those, and it's pretty far away to get to one. But it's just like the Apple stores are not. It's like they're located in really big cities only, I feel like. They stopped making pennies today. It's been over 200 years. Well, you know, pennies with the copper, it costs about 3 cents to make one. So it's an interesting thing, but rest in peace to the pennies. I remember the penny meme coin that did really well. So yeah, the pennies are done. That's an optimization right there. Stop making the pennies. Apple stores keep getting robbed. Yeah, I mean, we see maybe in San Francisco, maybe in really densely populated areas, they keep getting. I do see videos of them. I think they're old videos of just. But you know what? With those phones just self-destruct. Any of those show phones are not usable, and the people get tracked, and then they set off the alarms on the phones, and it says return to Apple Store or whatever. So they're the phones that when they steal them, they're not even usable. It's just basically an insurance problem. They added Northern Illinois to the Mountain West Conference for football and basketball. Well, why would Northern Illinois leave the MAC? Because they got a better payday? Yeah, the Epstein coin, we've come full circle. The Epstein coin is back. I'm kidding, I'm not in the Epstein coin. The Epstein coin is back after this big news. Thoughts on Georgia upsetting Ohio State in the playoffs? I mean, it's possible. I don't think it's likely, but it'd be good to see Ohio State, Georgia. You know, dude, I remember the game that I live streamed. Ohio State should have won that game against Georgia. That was crazy. And everyone thought Georgia was going to win too, and then Ohio State came out and just like fucking they were winning the entire game. That was with CJ Stroud. And then Georgia fans got all angry. And then they got lucky at the end. But Ohio State was in control of that game against Georgia like maybe 5 years ago or something. I don't remember. But they had a playoff game. You bought an M4 Mini Mac when they first released, and it's a great computer. If you need a replacement, you just have to get a monitor. No. I don't need a replacement. This is a really old. I already have newer computers. This is a really old computer that I have to dispose of. All right, we'll try and watch a Trump clip if we find one. Yeah, I mean, I understand what she's doing. It is going to sound like a whataboutism when she does this, but...
Why not just go ahead, release the full files on Epstein, get this all over with? This administration has done more with respect to transparency when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein than any administration ever. In fact, this administration, the Department of Justice, has turned over tens of thousands of documents to the American people. We are cooperating and showing support for the House Oversight Committee. That's part of the reason you are seeing these documents that were released today, because of the House Oversight Committee's and Republicans' efforts to get these out to the public. This administration also moved, the Department of Justice also moved to unseal grand jury testimony, which we know, unfortunately, a judge declined those requests. So this administration has done more than any, and it just shows how this is truly a manufactured hoax by the Democrat Party. For now, they're talking about it all of a sudden because...
All right, let's see what the comments are. Thoughts on how hot she is. Thoughts on her age gap relationship. She's married to an old dude. Thoughts on her 60-year-old husband. Like, how many times do we get these? It's just funny. I got those four comments in a row.
President Trump is in the Oval Office, but when Joe Biden was sitting in there, the Democrats never brought this up. This wasn't an issue that they cared about because they actually don't care about the victims in these cases. They care about trying to score political points against President Trump, as we have, of course, seen with this government shutdown. And this entire thing, again, it's not a coincidence to the American people at home. There are no coincidences in Washington, D.C., and it is not a coincidence that the Democrats leaked these emails to the fake news this morning ahead of Republicans reopening the government. This is another distraction campaign by the Democrat and the liberal media, and it's why I'm being asked questions about Epstein instead of the government reopening because of Republicans and President Trump.
You think she got a nose jab recently? Her nose looks maybe a little smaller, I don't know. Yeah, the guy's doing well. I mean, how that's like the guy's like 64. She's like 29 or something. Oh, I know. Like, what's the point of even watching this, honestly? There's no point in watching it. Because it's just going to devolve. And then this, we'll see what people say about this.
At a level never seen before. While at Ministry of Public Security headquarters, I met with my counterpart at MPS, where the Chinese government agreed on a plan to stop fentanyl precursors. What does that mean? The People's Republic of China has fully designated and listed all 13 precursors utilized to make fentanyl. Furthermore, they have agreed to control 7 chemical subsidiaries that are also utilized to produce this lethal drug. Effective immediately, essentially, President Trump has shut off the pipeline that creates fentanyl that kills tens of thousands of Americans. These substances are now banned, and they will no longer be utilized by the Mexican drug trafficking organizations or any other DTOs around the world to make this drug. This historic achievement has saved tens of thousands of lives. This historic achievement would not have been possible without the tremendous team of President Trump, the Attorney General, the Department of Justice, the federal...
How many of your subs are on fentanyl? What a question. What a great question. Do you know what happened with Kash Patel's girlfriend suing like Elijah Schaffer? Did you guys see that? Like, how do you sue? I think that's ridiculous. You can't be suing people like that because they keep calling her a Mossad agent, and so she's suing some people for doing it. I guess for insinuating that she's a Mossad agent. I don't know. I thought that fell under free speech, but they say you're defaming. Came out that Cash screwed the same couch as Vance. My thoughts on that? Must be a nice piece. Must be a attractive piece of the cushions. The cushions look like they're very plump. Whatever happened to Manti Te'o's girlfriend? They did a Netflix show on it, and they said, well, Manti Te'o, actually, people should stop making fun of him or something. But I don't know what happened, but there was a Netflix documentary on him. Tier list now? Bro, I did used to do a few tier lists in my day. I do remember that in those streams. Those were like football streams. Did you see Ben Shapiro complaining about conservatives and pushing censorship on CNN? I saw some of his clips on CNN, yes. Yeah, Ben Shapiro is just... He's lost the young people. He's lost Gen Z. He's not going to get them back because of dual loyalty to Israel. He's not going to get them back. There's just no way. He's going to have to try and conjure something up, but I don't know. Shapiro said if you can't afford to live in America, you need to leave. Yeah, I think he was talking about like New York City, but no, it's definitely a bad look. Trump to sign government funding bill. Momentarily, what does that mean? 15 minutes, 20 minutes? 9:45, I heard. No saving Israel's PR. Well, they just need to stop as a country. You know, if they get rid of Netanyahu, they have to not do anything. I mean, I think that's what part of the reason they ended their war, because it was such a horrible PR look for them, and they were losing they were losing influence because of the situation with Palestine, and so they have to just stop for a while, I think. Let's talk about Canada becoming the 51st. Dude, I mean, this this William guy, he's got to be a boomer. There's no way. And I mean, I haven't banned him yet, but this guy is... William, how old are you, man?
Conversation out of that, or you get destroyed.
That's right.
And now we're working for a president who just takes a bulldozer to Overton windows and does that, like, shocks us every day, and then we go, okay, well.
That's exactly right. That is a good summary of Donald J. Trump, is that he takes a bulldozer to Overton windows every single day. But it had to happen. It just had to happen. And if you look at so many of the things that are happening on the public health side, I mean, you know, one of the criticisms that Bobby will always get, and I always think it's such bullshit, excuse my language, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that. It's probably covering, you know, I apologize to everybody who's watching live on Fox News. Hopefully they were able to bleep that out. But
dude, this guy, I swear he's at least 70. He's got to be honest, though.
Anyway, is sometimes there's this attack where people say, well,
age is just a number. Dude, we're just having a good time. Is it like 78? Are you 78? I mean, I've seen your comments. I feel like I have a grasp on... I can sniff out a boomer. I can sniff out a boomer, trust me. Thoughts on dating half your age plus 7? Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that. That does make, cause 26, 13 plus 7, 20. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not an exact science. I'm fine with dating my age or like a year younger, 2 years younger.
Sucks for you guys, because Trump has put you in a very difficult position, because as my colleagues have said here, right, if Joe Biden or any other Democrat would have said this, you'd be like, that's ridiculous.
I don't know you very well, but I can assure you that the condition of Donald Trump being the president versus Joe Biden in no way, shape, or form sucks for me or Jim.
I think it's quite difficult to defend somebody who puts you in a position of saying we should put somebody else besides Americans first, especially when he's just given billions of dollars to bail out Argentina.
I think first of all, it was a currency swap, which we made a profit on. Number two, it's quite easy for me to be perfectly comfortable with the President of the United States, who's presiding over a broad coalition that does have disparate views. The previous administration, you couldn't sit here and tell me who the hell was in charge. I know who's in charge.
You're right,
of this
and I'm not going to defend it. I'm not sitting here to defend that. So I don't have Trump derangement syndrome. So all I'm saying is, if you had somebody else saying the exact same thing, would you make the same argument? Can you say that honestly? And can you be intellectually honest about that?
Trump is in a difficult political position because his base is diversified here. Some hardliners, some moderates, and some people who want it more wide open. But they're all part of his coalition. He's trying to find a balance, but he's trying to do what's best for the United States. He clearly thinks there is some role for the H-1B program, but he has throttled it somewhat with this application fee.
He's clearly listening.
Yeah, Scott Jennings does look like he's lost weight, does it not? Looks like he's lost weight to me. But they always do this with these liberal people on the panel, and I don't know, man. It's all just like micro crap.
This is men's fragrance. Right. Hold it. Yeah. This is it's the best fragrance. Come here, man. I have more here, sir.
This is Eric Trump's cologne.
Okay. So what we'll do is just take that, Joe, put it in, and then the other one is for your wife. How many wives? You guys, I never know, right? I never know.
What happens if the Supreme Court rules against the tariffs? I think they're still going to be in place, but they're going to take a long time to get They're going to have to go through Congress, I believe. But I think Trump will be able to keep them in place, but it'd be a setback.
أنا أرسلت له هدايا فيها شيء أثري قديم. أول أبجدية صارت في لعبة التاريخ، أول ختم أيضا صار في التاريخ، أول نوتة موسيقية أيضا، أول تعريف الجمهورية أيضا صارت في العالم. That was made in the world. Very good. هي نسخة عن أشياء أثرية موجودة من أصولها في سامسونج الهدية للسيدة الأولى كم زوجها. Very good. Right now one. هذه بس واحدة.
Tariffs will be gone. I don't think so. I had a few different people tell me about some of the legal things that Trump had at his disposal to be able to keep them in place. You're legit confused, though, because isn't this dude a terrorist, like a bad one? What's the meaning behind the meaning that's a positive? Well, they're trying to have a better relationship with Syria. And so I think that's mainly the reason why. Thoughts on USS Gerald R. Ford blockading Venezuela? Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. I think they're going to do land strikes in Venezuela. I don't know. It's not going to be very popular. There's a lot of sentiment that Trump should just focus domestically.
Was Chuck Schumer came out and said the quiet part out loud. I don't even think he realized he has no self-awareness. But he came and cried to all of you that I would not agree to go into a back room and make a four corners agreement on these issues. That just he and I and Hakeem Jeffries and Lee Thune would go in a room and make this decision for the entire population of America and block out all of our colleagues as if they had no voice in it. That is why Washington is broken. That's why Congress hasn't worked well for people. That's why they don't have a lot of faith in what goes on here. And I'm committed to trying to restore that faith. And one way we do that is we get back to regular order, and we allow all the duly elected members of this body to have their voices heard. I'm not playing games, and Chuck Schumer, I'm not going in a back room with you and making a four corners deal on anything.
Yeah, Pepe, I'm waiting for the phone to come out. When is the Trump Mobile coming out? The pre-orders, I think, they're going through the pre-orders. It's just a block. Looks like a mini fridge. How's it going? Dark ginger. Nice. Another variant. Did you hear about the foreign minister of China threatening to cut off the head of the Japanese prime minister for taking a hard stance on defending Taiwan? Yeah, no, I didn't hear about that, but, you know, they're obsessed with Taiwan. Well, they already view Taiwan as incorporated as a part of China. They say it never left. They say it never became independent. You pre-ordered it? How much is it? $499? It's going to kill PlayStation? I don't think so. These things get hype and then it just dies immediately. You don't think it's pre-orderable yet? Yeah, there's not a price. But I wonder, what is the speculation? Are they going to try and do like a cheaper? They're going to try and make it cheaper? Yeah, I've seen this clip.
Okay, a lot of the MAGA women receive gender-affirming care, such as lip fillers, breast augmentation, etc. Why do you think they are so against gender-affirming care for trans people?
You know you want to say.
Oh.
Okay, so I have this thing where
Whoa,
like you
that was
know
a jump
MAGA
scare.
woman when you see one.
1000%.
They
That was
all
a jump
have
scare.
a look,
Big
right?
back, but-
But they lips be up to anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole other issue. But yeah, they don't even know because when that was brought up on the House floor, because there was a discussion about this
Mm-hmm.
on the House floor. They were like, "How dare you say we use?" And it's like, no, that's exactly what y'all do. Y'all just didn't realize that that's what it is. But okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, a lot of the MAGA women receive
No, that's not what it is at all. They're not changing their hormones by doing that. Do you think Trump will endorse Vance after the midterms or wait until the 4th year? Well, Trump, it seems like Trump will probably wait a bit because I'm sure he wants to still govern, and I'm guessing he would wait. Or you know what? He would have to maybe do it before the primaries. So the Trump phone has been delayed indefinitely, but supposedly it's still happening soon. No refunds. So it's a mess. Please run for Senate to Jasmine Crockett. XRP is going to blast off soon. What is that boomer slop? Thoughts on Chinese astronauts stuck in space after their capsule got struck? Is that even real? I feel like some of the stuff is just made up by you guys. Yeah, the Trump cologne was just showed off. Eric Trump was talking about the Trump cologne. CCP astronauts need to wait for a return shuttle. We had astronauts stranded.
Alright, buddy, campers can come on inside.
Kid had a kill list.
Congressman, when did you get this information?
We actually just received all of these emails, with a total of about 23,000 documents, actually a few days ago, so last week, and we've been going through, our team, of course, through all of these very carefully over the last few days. We obviously released some today. We'll be releasing additional documents likely later today. The important thing here is that we know, and we've been demanding, that Donald Trump and the DOJ release the full Epstein files. In what's been released today, which obviously is some quite serious, I think, connections between what Donald Trump may have known. There's communication between Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, obviously making some claims about Donald Trump spending significant time, hours, with possibly one of the victims. There's also disturbing emails there about Trump and Jeffrey Epstein that people can read for themselves. And I think what's important right now is that we want to know why Donald Trump spent the entire campaign saying that he would release the files. And now that he's in the White House, there is a massive cover-up going on. The survivors deserve the truth.
Yeah, but they actually don't want to release all the files. Apparently, a Republican tried to have the files released. I don't know, man. Trump needs to be impeached. He's a phony. It's because you're a groiper. That's why you think that. Trump read one of the victims a bedtime story.
Republicans have to talk about it, Laura.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
Well, let me
when you and I were
I'll give you an
up.
example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made batteries all their lives. You know, making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing. It's very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way.
This idea of hundreds of thousands.
Bro, you're asking me. That's the entire argument I've been using. The entire argument I've been using is exactly that. And you're saying, why am I not making the argument that I've been using for like the past 3 months?
Thousands of foreign students in the United States. We have about 350,000 Chinese. One point during COVID, you were going to, push to, get them out, but that was pulled back. You've said as many as 600,000 Chinese students could come to the United States. Why, sir, is that a pro-MAGA position when so many American kids want to go to school and there are places not for them, and these universities are getting rich?
What type of content is your favorite to make? I think it depends the time of year, honestly, because I mean, in terms of like views, to me, actually, historic videos are my favorite to make right now. But in terms of views, like election time videos are the best to make, and they're the easiest to make too. They require a lot less effort than like a historic video.
Off Chinese money.
Sure. Never said about China, but we do have a lot of people coming in from China. We always have, China and other countries. We also have a massive system of colleges and universities. And if we were to cut that in half...
Dude, you can't... That's a terrible thought process. You just said you guys have no idea how much foreigners hold up the AI space. Well, that's a huge issue in and of itself. So foreigners, so people not from our country, are the reason our AI is doing well. I mean, it seems like a bigger problem than... the fact that our AI, our artificial intelligence space is not going to do as well is foreigners propping up some. Like, that's the issue. We can't have that. We don't want that. We want Americans Are we really going to see this crazy of a setback? It's really just a bottom line issue. That's the problem. The bottom lines are going to go down slightly, so they want to import. It's like fully optimized if you're able to like fucking recruit. Like, it's like globalist recruitment center. You recruit any immigrant from any country to come to the United States, but we don't want to be a globalist country.
Half, which perhaps makes some people happy, you would have half the colleges in the United States go out of business.
So what?
Well, I think that's a big deal.
Are they fans
You would have the
of the United States?
Yeah, but you would have, as you know, historically, black colleges and universities would all be out of business. You would have a system of colleges and universities would
So
go
we're
down the
dependent on
tubes.
China to keep our
No, not
university
China,
system
but
going?
I think it's good to have. I actually think it's good to have outside countries. Look, I want to be able to get along with the
They're
world.
not the French. They're the Chinese. They spy on us. They steal our intellectual property.
What, do you think the French are better?
Yeah.
Really? I don't know. I'll tell you.
Yeah, the French are better than, they're not the number one adversary to the United States. Trump totally lost the plot in this interview. Yeah, I know this was obviously not a good interview for Trump.
I'm not so sure. We've had a lot of problems with the French, where we get taxed very unfairly on our technology, where they put 25% taxes on American products. Look, assuming everyone treats us badly, because that's the way I am, but we take in trillions of dollars from students. The students pay more than double when they come in from most foreign countries. I want to see our school system thrive. But at the same time, I know you and I disagree.
Yeah.
We're never going to agree on it, but that's okay. And it's not that I want them, but I view it as a business. We have millions and millions of people. Also, I want to get along with countries if possible. People are shocked. Remember, Hillary Clinton said, we'll be in a war. I stopped 8 wars in the last 9 months. I don't want to be in wars. If I am in a war, we're going to win the thing fast, and it'll be violent. But you know what? I don't want to be in wars. But one thing, you don't want to cut half of the people, half of the students from all over the world that are coming into our country, destroy our entire university.
See, I don't think you understand the concept of a lot of the jobs that they take. See, the thing is, like you think foreigners come into our country and give us wealth. Maybe they give the country GDP. But in terms of a middle-class American, that's absolutely not true at all. Now, you could argue some different things, but you bring foreigners in, it's job competition, it's wage suppression, and it's pumping up, it's competition for houses as well. So I don't really buy that, especially for middle class people. Now, maybe the overall GDP is better because it's like optimizing the workforce, because getting people from other countries and not having to train them is better. But from a middle class perspective, I don't buy that at all.
College system, I don't want to do that.
I wouldn't lose any.
And don't forget, MAGA was my idea. MAGA was nobody else's idea. I know what MAGA.
Dude, how many times are you going to ask if there's gay conservatives in the chat? I don't think there's any gay conservatives in the chat.
Epstein clearly had contact with Israeli intelligence and American intelligence and French intelligence, but the only one you're not allowed to talk about is Israeli intelligence. But it seemed true to me, and I had done some work on that. I knew a bunch of people pretty close to that story, so I thought that. And I said that to Charlie, and I said, but I'm not going to say that because I don't want to make your donors mad. I know it's just going to be like an endless flurry of text telling you to stop or you're going to lose a bunch of funding. And he looked at me, I'll never forget it, and said, go all the way. Do it. Go all the way. I said, man, a lot of things I can talk about. I don't need to talk about that. And he said, do it. So I did it.
And here's the thing, Stu. I was recently going through some old pictures to find one of me and Charlie that I knew we took at that event. And not only did I find pictures of me and Charlie, but I found a...
What's even the narrative from the administration at this point? So are we pro-China now? I don't know. I think there's a bottom line, and in terms of a lot of these businesses, they want to import the foreign workers. And like in terms of the China stuff with the 600K, and I mean they obviously do help a lot of with the tuition that they pay, but it's paid by the Chinese government in a lot of cases because they want to have students here. I don't think Trump is pro-China, but I mean obviously the interview was not very good.
Video of me, Tucker, and Charlie speaking backstage right before Tucker went out. Tucker and I were talking. Charlie came over and interrupted for just a second. And you can hear him on this tape, which I've listened to many times. It's very clear on my phone, less clear here probably as we play it. But he says to Tucker, go Max. He interrupts the conversation because he has to say to Tucker something. And what was so important to him to tell Tucker was, go Max. Here it is.
Go Max.
It's quick. It just happens to be on tape. And it backs up what Tucker said. And so I just think...
Go Max as in go, expose them as hard as you can.
We need to be realistic. Charlie understood what was happening to the conservative movement over Israel. He probably understood it better than any of us because he absolutely loved Israel. And yet he represented and was of young people. He was young. That was his constituency. That's where he spent all of his time. And he knew that even on the right side of the aisle, they had turned and were turning on Israel. And knowing all of that, he told Tucker to go out there and do all the things Tucker did. Go Max, he said. Now, why did he do that? Because he knew there was a faction within the conservative movement that needed a voice. They needed somebody to put their thoughts and their complaints and their objections into words in a public setting and not just cede the whole argument to the other side, which has been dominating conservative thought and media forever, the Mark Levins of the world. And so it's one of the many reasons why I really object to this attempt to otherize, snuff out the voice of Tucker Carlson. Charlie knew exactly where Tucker stood on these issues and wanted him, and I quote, to go Max. The answer to what is happening right now on the conservative half of the aisle is not to silence Tucker, to diminish him to the point where he doesn't have followers. Not that that's possible, you lunatics, or to try to delegitimize Tucker. If anything, Tucker is a remaining voice for Charlie, whose views were changing himself. So I have nothing against Ben saying...
Yeah, why is she doing this for clout? She wants some of that Candace Owens clout, maybe. But I don't know, man. It's just, it's always a he said. But that is interesting that he told them to go talk about the Israel stuff in that way. But I don't know, man. Go Max, Mossad is after me. No, I think he was just telling him to don't hold anything back at his event, basically. As a 5'7" dude. Yeah, he's been back a few times. He was asking what surgery he shouldn't take. Why does it look like she takes Ozempic? But she's very skinny, Megyn Kelly. Very skinny. But she's always been very skinny, I believe. More likely to be featured on CNN or Fox News? What do you mean? Like featured for a segment? Probably Fox News. You saw my vid? Maybe I'll make a follow-up video, honestly, man, to talk about it. MAGA is dead. Don't they say this every other month? They say this every other month, I feel like. They say the MAGA is dead. If you say it every month, then how can it die? I don't know, man. There's always something that happens, I feel like, whether it's the, Iran strikes or whatever, and they say it's dead. The vlog style are still the best. Yeah, I feel like I could make the vlogs even better if I just improved a few things. America has been dead. RB. Resident Groiper. No, I mean I knew that they were gonna say that immediately after when that interview came out. You watched Nick's live broadcast for the first time, Super Doomerism. I told you so, bro. Yeah, he always just gotta tell everyone how right he is after everything. Slip. Yeah, that kid was 18 or 19 for sure, dude. That kid was like 19 years old. It's the exact demographic. The exact demographic. And I don't know how he was a fan of mine, maybe. He probably says thinks I'm a neocon or something, but he was a fan of mine, and yeah, he kept getting angry at me. Do a night vlog where you're cooking some fajitas. I don't know if I can cook. I used to make tacos with Cool Ranch Doritos. I'd have do you tacos. That's a fat ass move. But I'd have tacos with sour cream, Cool Ranch Doritos, and it's good. How old are you? I don't know. I can't tell because you don't comment enough for me to be able to tell. Skiing vlog this winter. I do want to get back to skiing. Skiing is a peaceful thing. I gotta find people to ski. The last time I've been to skiing, maybe when I was like 17 or 18. But I did go out west skiing. Play what Alex Jones said. Vlog ended kind of abruptly. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to end them. Let's go skiing. The problem is when I go skiing, I don't have the greatest options where I live. I've got two small resorts, Boston Mills, Brandywine. There's another resort, I think maybe in central Ohio, but it might even be worse. No, I think it might be better. It's like Ohio Valley. I think skiing's got to be like riding a bike. I could probably do it very easily if I decided to go out. Because once you learn it, I don't think you give it up. I don't think you unlearn it. I'd be a bit rusty, but I don't know. I mean, I'm getting a lot of questions about this. Get a motorcycle. I'm really not I don't think I'm a motorcycle guy. Not a motorcycle guy. Move to the Montana or Wyoming, you can ski all the time. Well, if you want to be optimized, I'm not going to move to Colorado, but Colorado is the place where you would move for skiing. Colorado or Utah. Colorado, Utah, and believe it or not, California in the upper elevation. We live in the same area. You know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, the resorts are not good. We used to at Boston Mills. There's this area, and it's like it's not they should make it an official run. There was this area that's way off. No, it's not way off, but it's like off the eastern side and it's like really it's really gnarly terrain, but it would be like a double black diamond, and we used to do that. But the problem is it has to snow enough to actually even have, anytime there's on the East Coast, you go to Holiday Valley. That's like the only thing. I mean, there's ski resorts in Vermont, but going up all the way up there, it's probably going to be like 5 hours or 6 hours. But we went to Holiday Valley a few times, and they have the steepest run in on the East Coast or the eastern side of the United States, the Wall, and it's just an ice sheet. It's too steep. Even though Holiday Valley does get cold weather, like it gets a lot colder weather than here. They don't have the altitude to be able to, retain any sort of base for any vertical slope. So I went down the Wall. It's just an ice sheet. It's fucking miserable. Any like really steep terrain on the eastern side of the U.S. is going to be an ice sheet because it's not high enough to where it's constantly over 32 degrees in the winter. Then it rains. I've been where it rains when you're skiing. It's miserable. Peak and Peak. Yeah, Peak and Peak I would say is like a scaled down version of Holiday Valley. It's like I've actually never been to Peak and Peak, but my friend used to go to it. It's definitely better than the ones that we have. All right, let me see this.
What are your thoughts on Bad Bunny performing at this year's Super Bowl?
I think it's awesome. And I think our Latina fan base is amazing. And I think when you think about the Super Bowl, you want the #1 performer in the world to be there. We're on a global stage, and we can't ever forget that. Our game goes out to everybody around the world. And to get the premier entertainer to want to be a part of our game, I think is amazing. And I think that we have a mixed culture. I mean, our whole society is based on immigrants that have come here and founded our country. And I think we can celebrate that. And I think the show's going to be amazing.
You don't think at a time when his comments were divisive as it relates to President Trump, when everyone is just seeking this political unification, that you'd want somebody who maybe didn't touch politics to be on that stage?
Yeah, I don't think our game's about politics. I don't think people tune in to look at politics. We do everything we can to avoid politics. And I think in that moment that people...
They do everything they can to avoid politics, but then they got Black Lives Matter spray painted on the back of the end zones.
Watching the game, they'll be celebrating music, and nobody will be thinking about what's comments on the left side, what comments on the right side, that this is about bringing people together.
Seven Springs near Pittsburgh. Yeah, I think I've heard of Seven Springs. I mean, but they're all like bunny hills in comparison to out west, unfortunately. The NFL does so bad internationally, LMAO. They're so desperate to compete with MLB and NBA, but will never be like them. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think they do a lot better. Certainly, they do way better domestically than either of those leagues. And I mean, yeah, sure, the NBA. I do think the NBA has inroads in China significantly. MLB, you could say like Latin America and Japan. Yeah, Japan because of Ohtani. And just in general, even before Ohtani. Yeah, I've been to Cedar Point a few times. Domestically, yes, but nobody outside of America cares about the NFL. Yeah, I don't think there's but I mean that's kind of how it is, bro. I mean, it's a fucking why do they want to be a globalist league? They make plenty enough money in America. Miller, why does she have a podcast? I didn't know that. Did Stephen Miller's wife have a podcast? I didn't know. Did you see the Cleveland MLB players incident? Yeah, I saw it about the betting. It's just a bad situation. You know, they're going to take that very seriously outside of Ohtani. When he was involved, that got swept under. But these relievers are screwed for the Guardians. Why do you think it's impossible that there could be another gay guy in the chat? Well, man, you've asked the question about 7 times. So I you know, you asked the question, I let it go. You asked the question again, I let it go. You asked the question again, I let it go. You asked again, I let it go. You asked again, I let it go again. You asked it again, and then I said, I don't think there's any gay guys in the chat, man. So that's really what transpired with that. What's your take on Tim Pool? Dude, Tim Pool has like weird tweets. I don't know. I followed him, and a lot of his tweets are just like strange takes. Trex Gaming, what's up, man? I mean, we've done enough of the Epstein stuff at this point, man. Yeah, Matt Walsh is obsessed with AI. I mean, I think AI is a big thing, but he keeps talking about it. Would you ever move to a red state with no state income tax? Well, I don't think state income tax should be a big decider. I mean, obviously, there's no way I'm moving to a blue state that has an 11% state income tax. I want the state income tax to be like 3% or lower, but it doesn't have to be 0. Or like maybe as high as like 4 or 5%, but I mean, preferably 3% or lower. Yeah, the NFL is really involved in politics, and they say that. He has new Trump troll meme. Yeah, somebody said that Trump tweeted that out. See, this is gonna get this is going to, dude, all of my live streams get this. If there's a video, if there's fucking music like this, it's gonna get copyrighted. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this live stream. I'm going to end it there. I will see you guys later. What stadium is the nicest? The nicest is going to be the new Cleveland Browns stadium, probably. Move to a deep red state? Probably not. Oklahoma, Tennessee, or Alabama? No, because the I don't like the climates really of those things. All right, guys, I'll see you.